So I'm building a computer, or really rebuilding. It was a air-cooled PC me and my son built, and now we're going to go to liquid cooling. And yeah, here's the beginning of it. All I have is the motherboard seated, CPU, and just the connections from the Lian case to the motherboard. So we're going to put the CPU water block on first, and then I'll take you through the rest of the build. All the parts are linked in the description below. Thank you. So now I'm starting the tube bending process. First time working with Hardlines, and this is my first 90. Not bad. Pro tip, just use a table. I also have one of these guys. You insert the tube and just bend it. There's the heat gun, gloves, and the silicone insert. So the you put that in when you're bending the tube so the tube doesn't collapse on itself. So hopefully I'll have my whole hard tubing run finished next video. Okay, quick update. Putting these Lian Bora digital RGB fans. These are addressable RGB fans. I will be connecting them to the motherboard's RGB, which is Asus Aurora. So I have more of a uniform lighting. The radiators I'm using are Slimline Primo Chill Eskimos, 360 millimeter, 120, 120, 120. The issue I'm having with these fans though is that these screws are barely getting in there. So we'll have to see how that goes in the long run. I just wish they had longer screws, especially after you have to put in these rubber anti-vibration pads. So I'm really having to torque these down to get, I would say, 3/4 of the thread through. Hard to tell though, but overall everything's coming together. I also had to reorient my water block. It was positioned the other way with the inlet and outlet going horizontal. Now they're going vertical. And it's just, the main reason is I had them horizontal originally because I was gonna go up and over the RAM and into the distro plate. I didn't wanna have the lines go over the RAM. One, because of aesthetics, I didn't want to block the RGB. And two, because what if I had to change the RAM? I have to empty my entire loop. I have to take off the tubing unless I give myself enough clearance. I don't know. But this way is so much easier because the way the distro plate is, you'll see when it's all done, the holes line up perfectly to the water block. So it's just a straight run of tubing rather than having to make some really difficult 90-degree bends. So yeah, there's just an update right now, and hopefully I'll have more soon. Okay, an update. I have the fans and the radiators in. Bottom radiator, top radiator. I still don't know how I'm going to do the tubing run. I'm thinking I'm just going to have as few 90s as possible and make it really clean. But what I want to update you with now is I'm going to be putting this water block on the GPU, the graphics card, which is kind of nerve-wracking because this is by far the most expensive component in the entire system. So I've got my instructions. I've watched the videos about 3 or 4 times. Liquid cooling the graphics card will make it run quieter. It'll allow me to overclock it, much like the processor, and run it at higher speeds and essentially get more out of it. This particular spec is a Asus RTX 2080 Super, with only one card being better than this one, and that is the 2080 Ti. So I'll check back once it's all complete. So this is essentially just your video card. Got the shroud removed. The heat sink on this is ridiculous. This thing must weigh about 3 pounds, and it's just massive. But at the end of the day, all the video card is this. Everything else is just to keep it cool. So yeah, now we're gonna put the water block on it, and that should be the next update. Okay, I have the water block on the graphics card. That was nerve-wracking, but it came out pretty good. I still have to put the back plate on. You can put on a custom nickel back plate, which is another 50 bucks, or you can just put on the back plate that comes with your video card, which I'm just gonna put on for now. Maybe in the future I will get a special mount so I can mount my graphics card like this, vertically, so you can see the water going through the channels, and it lights up with RGB. But as of right now, it's going to be installed like this. Well, wrong way. Like this. So yeah, you're gonna miss a lot of the neat features of a water-cooled graphics card. You know, seeing the different color coolant in the channeling and whatnot. And again, that might be something I'll do in the future, but I think it'll still look pretty good with RGB and the nickel finish reflecting. So yep, that's it for now. Okay, so quick update. I have everything for the most part installed. I'm just waiting on the distro plate, which is going to go right here. That's not coming in until tomorrow, unfortunately. I'm kind of torn with the cables, if I want to go all white or if I want to go white with black combs, similar to this one. I don't know. Silly thing to worry about. I'm thinking I'm going to run my GPU tubing parallel here, like this, and this is going to fit nicely right under that cable. And my flow indicator, I believe I'm going to have probably right here, right before the 90 into the distro plate. We'll see though. I kind of wanted it on the bottom, but with the cables here, I could always put the cables up here connecting in this way, but it's more difficult to maneuver around this tube. The other thing is I have some of the cable management done, but eventually all of this has got to fit into the back of my case. I have all my fans and LEDs right here. You know, it's better than some of the other stuff I've done. I'll show you a after on the cable management, but it's going to be a chore getting all these cables in here and being able to identify them if I need to fix something. I want everything accessible, but I also, you know, like for instance, my fan splitter right here. I can easily reach any fan, and I have them numbered. One at the top, 1, 2, 3, and then the bottom 4, 5, 6. And these are numbered here on the fan splitter. So, you know, if I have a bad fan or I need to swap out a fan, it shouldn't be that difficult. Yeah, so just a quick update. Waiting on the distro plate. I think what I'm going to do today is start bending some tubes, because all I'm going to need are 90 degrees. 90 degree out and over, 90 degree out and over, and then a 90 degree here to go into the distro plate, a 90 degree here into the distro, and a 90 here into the distro, and a 90 here in the distro. So basically 4 90 degrees that are going to go into the distro from the radiator, both radiators, and 2 90 degrees coming from the CPU. The GPU already has 90s built in, and of course the 2 tubes that are going to 90 into the distro and the 2 tubes that are going to 90 into the distro from the GPU, I'm going to be using a 90 degree fitting. Not because I don't like bending tubes and I'm afraid of complicated bends. I just like the look of an industrial type build with lots of fittings. Fittings are incredibly expensive, but I've seen some builds with 30, 40 fittings and it looks so nice. I just want to dispel the myth that it affects your performance if you have too many 90s. There's a great article out where I'll post that in the link as well. It will slow down the flow, but it has no. Okay, arguably the two hardest bends I have to do in this entire loop, because all the other ones it doesn't matter if the 90s are parallel or not, but these had to be measured down to the millimeter just so they look clean. And yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with my 90 degrees. They're a little off, but no one's going to notice it unless you look really close. And it's going to look a lot cleaner once I get all the fittings on. Once I 90 them right here into the distro. But yeah, these were the most nerve-wracking bends. Everything else, this is going to be a straight pipe to a straight pipe, straight pipe to straight pipe. These are going to 90 into the distro, but they don't need to line up or be parallel with each other. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with these two pipes. So as long as they don't leak, and I deburred them correctly, so it has a tight seal, I shouldn't have to do that again. All right, more updates to come.